Maneva na say ma PENDREAM TV there osia dem yopo
Memo akwa buy the PENDREAM TV so make sure so obe subscribe to channel no click bell no so say the news too also sabet me aka in term no ati eye Beatrice Annan or lawyer e wo NDC mo no eno ne Daaku or no so ye NPP member kese ba ho e share good morning Ghana so no na omo kasafa eye Ghana SS power mahama eje egu ho no enche ye World Bank country director a Ghana hanom ene koye interview no obeka say Ghana SS power no ka ho ntinas e ka bebre abeto Ghana so na no na NDC for chire ma enya no kre enti mra lawyer Beatrice Annan ene Daaku e share good morning Ghana so no obi ade ne nsem to dwa na ene timu se lawyer Beatrice Annan akwadere wa energy nsensem pa ene enya agro schooli Daaku enya asem keto ma ne hunu se ampa se de World Bank director country director ne kan entisa men kasa bebre argument.
You've read a very skewed story, but the World Bank director never said that the PPA signed by the NDC is the cause of our economic woes. He never said that.
Nobody said he said
okay. That. So that is the first point to make. Now, it is also false, and the falsehood being led by their economic Megwa, who is Dr. Bawumia, saying that they pay some 17 billion every year under the guise of excess power is false. Because on 17 June, when the Minister of Finance went to Parliament, where you cannot lie and where you cannot play the gimmick, when he was asked by Honorable Suhini between the period of 2017 to 2020, how much money have you paid with respect to excess power? They never mentioned 17 billion. In fact, the figure they mentioned was $937.5 million. That is the figure. And so the impression should not be created that some 17 billion cedis is being paid. Now, in the run-up to the 2012 election, the NDC in its manifesto promised to move the capacity or the generation capacity of this country from 2005 megawatts to 5,000 megawatts. After the 2012 election, the country was hit by a power crisis, albeit because of lack of investment over the years in the energy sector. And so the NDC government, in President Mahama's usual characteristics to take responsibility as a leader and not shirk them, says that I will solve doomsday. And so we entered into various power purchase agreements. And what is a power purchase agreement? It's an agreement between, in the case of Ghana, a sovereign state and a power producing company to come and generate power for government to distribute to people. In the context of Africa, no African countries can enter into any PPA that is not what we call take or pay. What take or pay simply means is that the companies have the capacity.
So that's a question, that was posed by
and that's
Honorable Suhini.
Yeah. So this was a clear case that Dr. Bawumia lied, and that point has been established.
So this was the question. The other one was the answer. Okay.
So
Dr. Bawumia lied about what? You know, when you start casting
17 billion, that 17 billion was
Mr. John Mahama understands it, but you still signed it. No. And then instead of submitting quietly, let us all finish it. You decide to bring Dr. Bawumia into this matter. What has he lied about?
It's just a clarification of the figures.
No, she should retract. Let us Dr. Bawumia lied about. What has Dr. Bawumia lied about? And then we get there.
Dr. Bawumia lied that 17 billion cedis was being used to pay.
And that is not true. Give us the proof that it was.
But that is what is on the screen.
You're not even listening.
Can you put it out?
Say what you want to say. Don't bring Dr. Bawumia into this matter because he's not the one we are discussing.
Okay, let me read. The question said that to ask Minister of Finance and independent power producers, power producing companies, have they received payment from the government of Ghana for excess power, for excess capacity charges, and how much was paid to each company in the last 4 years? Can I have the answer? Okay, so that's what we have there. So we have, Mr. Speaker, the answers to the question. Mr. Speaker, the underlisted, my eyes are not good. The screen is for independent power producers have received payment for excess capacity charge for the period under review in 2017-2020, totaling $937.50 million.
Is that 17 billion?
No.
So that is the point. So I'm saying
and you see the breakdown.
So
right.
So back to the submission I'm making, and I'm taking viewers on a certain journey so they understand me, and I'm building a point. And I wish that I'm not interactive because I sat down as a lady. You can write to rebut.
No, I
you can write to. I wrote all the bad things you said about
when they are not part of the whole matter. It will happen.
So,
I'll rebut.
No African country can sign a take and pay or any other power purchase agreement because government is the sole distributor of power and the government is that which charge. So what happened was that in the vision of President Mahama to solve the energy crisis, we brought in a number of thermal plants. One, the Ameri. The Ameri was on the basis of what we call build, operate, and transfer for a period of 5 years. So as we speak, the contract had lapsed, the plant is for Ghana, and you, NPP government, who could not add a single megawatt, have come to transform or relocate the Ameri plant to Kumasi, your stronghold. So the people of Kumasi
but the transfer was expected. Actually, that transfer of Ameri to Kumasi was expected.
We don't have anything to do with it. We don't have any problem with it. We solve the issues of Ghana. And so if today President Mahama's vision is what is giving the people of Kumasi light, the people of Kumasi are grateful to President Mahama. And there is nothing wrong with this for us. We also signed the car power. We signed the Sen power, the AXA, and then the Amandi. And then in all, now we have a generating capacity of over 5,000 megawatts. This government keeps shouting that we came to sign a bad deal and the deals are so bad and that is why we are here. And they have even insulted President Mahama. This morning, Ellen is telling us that President Mahama did not think through and he just signed anything. Car power, which we signed for 10 years, which has expired. The government that is supposed to be thinking has extended the agreement that President Mahama signed from 10 years to 20 years. Who is a useless government than the NPP government? You are saying that the man didn't sign a good thing.
Sitting on TV calling a government useless.
Because you have said that.
I am not. We are not the ones who said it.
We have signed.
Said you signed a useless.
You come to extend it. Then what are you?
Contracts.
Then what are you?
You sit here, you cast insinuation. When somebody said it, and then you
I'm
go
speaking
on.
With facts. You don't have the facts. Keep quiet.
You are saying that you did so well and calling the government useless. Useless. When the World Bank is saying that you, with all your usefulness, you couldn't even get the PPAs right. That's all I'm also trying to say.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so back to the very serious submission I'm making. Sen power, which we signed for 5 years, that contract has ended. This government has extended the contract for 10 years. So if you're a serious government that you think so much because you believe that the wrong thing is being done, and these two power plants' lifespan have ended, why didn't you let the contract? Not even, you don't need to abrogate. It means that the contract has expired. Yes. So the plants
go on to
will be
decommissioned,
commissioned, like we say in energy, and then they'll be taken out of the country.
Okay.
So that there is no issue of excess power. So why have you extended the supposedly bad contract? Just last year, in the face of the excess power, we are being told the Minister of Energy, Napo, has supervised ECG to sign another contract on the same take or pay basis. Who are you lying to? Does the MPP think that we are some zombies or we don't read? There is so much excess power. You're saying that you're paying so much. The contracts have ended. You've extended. Not only extended, in the face of the excess power, you have come to sign a new PPA. then it must be a very serious issue.
No, it might be a better deal.
What is the it is the same take or pay. So what's the better deal? If it were take and pay, it would have been a different discussion. But it is the same take or pay. And you see, the irony is that, and I keep saying that, the vision of President Mahama, none of them understand because they cannot understand. You are saying that you are embarking on industrialization and that you are doing one district, one factory. If even 15% of the power that has been installed or even our dependable capacity were to be used by industries, we should have an issue of power crisis. As we speak, you have collapsed Daaku. Daaku is not producing to capacity. B5, which is one of the largest steel manufacturing company in West Africa, located in Bon here, does not have access to enough power to produce steel. So why are you crying for excess capacity? But you listen to the video of President Mahama. His vision was that we don't need to get to another Dumso. And at the time, electricity coverage was just around 66 point something. We increased electricity coverage from 66.2% to 82.5%. And so at the time we were adding on to the generation capacity, we were extending electricity. You have come. You are not extending electricity to people who don't have electricity. Your stronghold in Ashanti region. When you are driving through Ashanti region today, some communities don't have light. So if you are not expanding electricity, the excess power will be lying down. But if you were to do the 15% of electricity expansion that the NDC did, we will not be having this discussion. Now, this is a government that uses so much money. In fact, in recent times, they are going to hold some international conference to bring investors. They should check. Every country must have some level of excess power between 15 to 20% so that you will attract investors. That when they come and set up factories, they don't need to be battling with Dumso or they don't need to be battling with power. So if you have that excess capacity, you will realize that companies can say that, okay, Ghana has access to so much power, we can easily set up our factory. That is why you attract B5 to Ghana.
Power today has become a requirement.
It is a standard. It's not today. It has always been a standard.
Okay.
In fact, if you look at the data from the Energy Commission, in fact, I have the 2021 data, you will realize that if you look at what we call our installed capacity, and you compare it to what we call dependable, which means that we can have the capacity, but then it's not so dependable. Our dependable capacity was around 3,000 something. If you look at our peak demand, which means that at a time when all of us need electricity, if you calculate the transmission losses, if you calculate the reserve margin that we are supposed to have, the excess capacity we have is nothing to write home about. So the challenge, yes, the challenge is not what they are saying. The challenge is that they use the plans which President Mahama brought into the country for politics. For instance, they said their merit due was inflated by $51 million. And that when they come, they will renegotiate all those deals. The last time they attempted to renegotiate their merit deal, they were caught red hands in corruption and they abrogated the renegotiation.
In fact, I spoke with a former power, I'm not going to mention him, power minister, who indicated that he was also in office at the time. And he indicated that the World Bank country director was actually doing comparison to solar prices, which he thought was not appropriate. You cannot be, comparing the PPA deals to solar prices. And then he also said that even at the time, Ghana had one of the lowest price within the sub-region at the time. And so he thought that maybe the country director, I'm not sure, I'm not an energy expert, but I'm not sure how the country director also, did his own analysis, to make that point. But how do you defend that point that you have cost us 12 billion Ghana cedis?
So the point I'm making is that the NPP could not see the vision of President Mahama. They used the power generation to do politics. You are in power. 7 years into your power, you have not been able to renegotiate what you call a bad deal into a good deal. In 2018, they went to Parliament and raised a €1 billion bond and said that they were going to use it to renegotiate. Go and check the parliamentary Hansard. Where is that 1 billion? Ken Oforiatta had his cut on that 1 billion. Where is that?
Hey,
yes, he was an advisor.
Oh, okay.
Yes, he had his cut.
Now the suits are flying everywhere.
I don't care. He should come and say that he's not the owner of Data Bank. He's not entitled to any cut. Right. So it is just something they are using as an excuse. The contracts which has lapsed, you've extended them. You've gone to renegotiate a new one on the same terms, and you are saying that is a bad deal. Where from this?
Okay, so they're all entering into bad deals. In
President Mahama's vision, because he never wanted us to get to this point where NPP will use these negotiations as excuses for their incompetence, we set up what we call the ESLA PLC. A simple Google search will show what ESLA PLC was to do. It was a special purpose vehicle to tackle some of these issues. Where are the ESLA funds? Today, you are doing debt restructuring, and ESLA is even affected, and you are coming to blame who? Admit that you don't understand energy. Admit that you don't understand how the energy sector works. Admit that you did so much politics. You came into power and you realize that energy analysis and decision on energy making is not like you are in a family house meeting where you come and state your opinion. It is simply data driven. And so if you do politics with it and you come and you realize that you cannot do contrary, you cannot blame President Mahama. Today, President Mahama is the reason why our lights are on. Today, President Mahama is the reason why industries can come to Ghana. He did not just want to solve the issue to win power. He wanted to solve the issue even for generations unborn. At the time we were signing the PPA in 2014, 2015, our population was about 24. Today, as we speak, we are 30 million people. So you can imagine if you were so short-sighted like your government is, we would have been coming back in 6 years, having another discussion. So it is not true that those PPAs, and in any case, the World Bank director did not refer to the NDC because in this NPP government, they have signed a take-or-pay agreement.
But he referred to the date. That he referred to the date, which within the date those agreements were signed.
That is why I'm telling you that it's not the reason. If they had not mismanaged ESLA, if you are not restructuring ESLA under yours,
because you're saying that you made provision, even by the debt would have accrued.
You would have catered for it.
Right.
So it is not true that President Mahama is the cause, if anything at all. Give credit to whom credit is due. That your own former Minister of Energy, Peter Amewu, said that you've not added 1 megawatt. So how do you blame a man who has added more than 2,500 megawatts to the national grid?